Howdy, folks. I'm Agile Arctic Aardvark, annoyingly antagonizing arrogant astronauts.
I'm Amber.
And here are more annoying astronauts for us to antagonize. I guess arrogant astronauts for us to antagonize. What do I know? I'm just an aardvark. So let's get started.
And our new theme is winter words. So the word today was Arctic.
Yes. All right, folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Setting Up My Twin? I'm recently single, and my married twin came to visit. We're both 30. Our family is very nomadic, and all of us siblings live in different states. Being a twin is fun. You have the normal sibling behavior of someone who copies someone, but my twin always takes it too far and has to outshine me. Example, I once drank with some friends, and that led to her going on a 3-week bender in high school. I've had multiple boyfriends growing up that would leave me to get with her just for her to turn around and go, haha, just kidding. I wasn't actually into you. Good riddance to them. It's just terrible on her end. Just some context to who we're dealing with. On to the real issue. My twin has never been to the state that I currently live in and knows no one here. There's this guy that I've been flirty with, but overall would not date. He's 20 years older and has no involvement with his kids, and he has a drug problem. On our drive down here, we called and I told her all the things that I like about the guy and left out all of the things that I don't. First day of visiting, she sleeps with him. They're both adults and free to do so. But I did intentionally let her know that I liked him because I figured that's where it would go. She then hid the information from me for weeks until the guy let me know what happened. I baited her into telling me the truth and she bragged about it. I then asked if she got his STD and conversation took a turn. To be clear, this wasn't until after they got together that I found out that he had an STD. Now her husband knows that she slept with another man. They're both positive for chlamydia, and somehow the family is under the impression that I'm the jerk. I will admit that I knew what I was doing when I was telling her all the feelings that I had for this guy. But I don't think her actions are my fault. She showed up already married. The family has been blowing up my phone to tell me that I ruined my twin's reputation. And when I push back, I'm told, you know how she is. There's always some weird competition with me. So am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think?
No, I don't think Opie was a jerk. Now, if she had known about the STI beforehand, I think that might have been a little bit of a different story. I know the sister is responsible for her own actions, and Opie didn't make her sister do anything. The sister made a conscious choice.
Yeah.
But if you're baiting someone into putting their health at risk, that can be a little bit of I would say, a gray area. But I certainly think that Opie was not the jerk here because, Opie didn't know about it and, again, did not force the sister to do something. The sister made conscious choices. And she needs to be recognized as the adult she is and not treated like she just can't help it.
Yeah, it seems like she really has this thing for one-upping OP and trying to get under OP's skin. And I think OP knew that at the time, but I don't know. Like, if OP did know about the STD and baited them into sleeping with them just so that they would get it, then I would think that OP would be... It wouldn't be cool of OP, I think. But also, the sister is their own person. And if he didn't tell her, then that's on him, right? Like, you should be upfront about your, disease state, if that's the case, right? But, she should have exhibited some self-control here and not gone and cheated on her husband. Like, her cheating on her husband is her own fault. And no one else should take the blame for that.
Mm-hmm.
But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. But folks, let's see what the Wheel of Judgment has to say. Wheel of Judgment, turn, turn, turn. Tell us the judgment that OP's earned. Misguided Hero. Apparently I didn't turn off the sound of the wheel today.
I was very confused. I was like, wait, the wheel has sound now?
Misguided Hero. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know if I go as far as say that.
Blue No Red says, you did kind of set her up to fail. You just didn't know the extent of the issues. Much like committing a crime, what happens during that crime is your fault even if someone else commits the crime. So I can't say not the jerk or you're the jerk, but you have some culpability. But she did it, not you. You kind of rolled out the carpet to the mousetrap, but she sprung the trap. I would say it's a toss-up for me. And OP replies, I appreciate your input. I do feel guilty since I did have a suspicion on where it would lead, but part of me was hopeful that I would be wrong. And Rosify FL says, not the jerk. You didn't force her to cheat on her husband. And Utopia Manasy Put says, yep, the sister chose to cheat. That's on her, not OP. And Overall Ad 6555 says, not the jerk. I doubt this is the first time that she's cheated. She's just mad because it's the first time that she got caught and she can't lie her way out of it. Actions have consequences. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if this isn't her first time cheating. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Missing a Date to Pick Up a Friend from the Airport? I'm a 38-year-old male, and my wife, a 38-year-old female, usually go out to dinner every Friday night. We usually both try not to miss it unless something very important comes up. So my friend Laura, a 37-year-old female, came back from her business trip yesterday, and she doesn't have a significant other, so I offered to pick her up from the airport. I did tell my wife, but I also told her that I would make it to dinner because it was at 7 and Laura's flight arrived at 5:45. We don't live far from the airport anyways. Getting her bags took a little while, but we were headed to her house by 6:10 and got there around 6:35 to 6:40. From her house to the restaurant is about 30 minutes. But I did stop for gas and a drink, and I was only going to be maybe 15 minutes late. But I guess that was 14 minutes too long for my wife because she went home. She just watched movies with our kids instead. Now she's giving me the cold shoulder because my friend didn't need a ride from the airport. She just said Laura could get an Uber. I think that she's being overdramatic, and I usually don't miss our dates anyways, so I don't think that is a huge deal. Kind of hoping that this one will blow over. Am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think?
Yeah, OP, you're definitely a jerk here. I mean, I think first of all, there was no communication with the wife. Like, if you know you're going to be late somewhere, you immediately message the person you're supposed to be meeting. Secondly, was the drink really necessary? Like, yeah, sure, if you have to get gas, sure, that's fine, but that'll take all of a minute. Did you really need to spend, like, however long it took getting the gas and the drink? Like, and was your friend part of that experience, or had you already dropped her off by then? Like, I'm not 100% clear of the timeline.
Well, the drink part is a little confusing for me. They surely don't mean that they went to like a bar and got a drink. Maybe they went to the gas station and picked out like a soda. And if that's the case, I'm a little less worried about the drink. But if
Well,
it's like them going to the bar at the,
it's a bit like, how long did they say? It took them, like it took them a good chunk of time to get the drink.
yeah,
And if they're just picking up a soda from a convenience store, again, the whole round trip should have been 5 extra minutes.
yeah. Well, that's the problem, is it just seems like there's something else going on here. And also, OP says they usually don't miss their dates. So it sounds like this isn't the first time that they've
Mm-hmm.
missed the date either. I agree with you. I think that the courtesy here would have been to text the wife or call the wife and say, hey, I'm running a few minutes late. Otherwise, I mean, the impression here doesn't look good at all because, like, here OP is, helping this single woman out. And I'm not saying, like, you can't have female friends or anything like that, but when your female friend is taking precedence over your wife,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't have good optics, right?
Well, and when you can't even do basic communication, because
Mm-hmm.
again, I don't even think that picking up the wife was so much of the issue as it was the lack of, picking up the friend was the issue so much as the lack of communication, because it seems like he should have just barely been late or not been late at all if he had just picked up the friend and gone straight to the restaurant.
Yeah, because they got to the house around 6:40, and so they should have been there, at 6:10. So I mean, I think like it sounds like the gas. If I'm calculating this right, maybe the gas took like 5 minutes or something like that. So maybe it was they went to the stopped and got some gas for 5 minutes, and then ran off. I don't know. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Sir Johnzo75 says, you're the jerk. You blew off your wife for another woman. And Talk to the Doctor says, I don't usually miss her dates anyways. Strike one, dude. You're the jerk. And Satisfaction Hour 1722 says, you're the jerk. No doubt about it. Stop for gas and a drink? Couldn't make a phone call? And No Control 8031 says, you're the jerk. You shouldn't have agreed to pick up Laura with such a short window. You are almost always going to be late. And Celtic Music Book says, but he was right on time for his other date with Laura. Lol. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Having a No Ring, No Bring Wedding? Using a throwaway account for this. I'm a 32-year-old female and I'm getting married to my fiance, a 35-year-old male, next summer. We've been together since this January, which might seem sudden, but we have been living together since Easter, and both known that this is a relationship that we want to be in forever. I'm the last in my core group of friends to get married, and I have playfully, of course, been teased about being the last one standing, since the second to last friend got married last year. That, along with being the youngest sibling and youngest cousin, means that there's no one important in my life who isn't already married or engaged. When discussing wedding plans originally, and in line with our budget and venue size, we realized quickly that we wouldn't be able to have many, if any, plus ones. To me, a plus one is a friend of a friend or unmarried, not engaged partner. From everything that I knew about my fiance's friend that I had met, they were all married, and there is this one couple engaged to be married next spring. He had often mentioned his friend, a 33-year-old male, who lives at the other end of the country, and his quote-unquote partner, a 29-year-old female. I clarified that they were not married or engaged, and so only include the friend on the invite. What my fiancé failed to tell me in advance was that this couple have been together for 10 years, and will never get married due to some kind of trauma that the girlfriend has from her parents' marriage growing up. Given the no plus one rule, unfortunately, I couldn't make an exception for this once I was made aware. I was contacted by the wife of my fiance's best man to ask why this friend and girlfriend were the only couple not to be invited together, and despite explaining the above, she thinks that I could have been more flexible. My fiance is concerned that his friend won't attend the wedding. We are close to the RSVP deadline, and we haven't had a response yet. But my own friends don't see an issue with no ring, no bring as a rule, given how expensive weddings can be, especially with guests that I don't really know. I personally don't want to make things awkward at my fiance's friend's wedding in the spring, as we have been told this couple will be attending. All right, folks, what do you think?
Yeah, OP, you're a major jerk here, and you need to own up for your actions. Oh, well, there was nothing I could do. No, you could invite them. That is 100% in your control, and you are the only thing stopping from inviting them. I think, in general, prioritizing married relationships over unmarried relationships is really bogus, especially given the duration of this relationship. I mean, they've been together 10 years. Opie and her partner have been together since, what, January? And so I do think there's something very ironic of OP acting like putting a ring on it is like the magical, like, how many people get divorced?
Yeah.
It happens all the time.
Yeah. Well, I understand OP wanting to have rules, right? But they can make an exception for one rule one time, right? And they can say, well, no ring or no bring. And then if somebody's like, well, they're not married, OP can be like, well, they've been together for 10 years, so it doesn't matter, right? And that's well within OP's power. And I think that this is one of those things where their OP just needs to reevaluate how they view other people's relationships, especially ones that are long-term relationships like this.
Yeah, and I also think OP needs to remember this is not just her wedding, It is her partner's wedding too, and it sounds like it's very important to him that this friend be there.
Yeah.
And he's worried that the friend won't be without the partner, which that's a reasonable thing for the friend not to go if their relationship is disrespected.
Yeah.
And so think about your partner, this is supposed to be a special day for both of you. Are you really like that hell-bent on having your rule and compromising your partner's happiness?
Yeah. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Standing in an Empty Parking Spot to Save It and then refusing to move when a guy tried to pull in? My friend and I were driving around a packed shopping center, and when we finally saw someone pulling out, she jumped out of the car to stand in the spot while I looped back around. A guy in a truck tried to pull into the spot anyways and literally inched his bumper toward her, telling her, you can't save spots, you're not a car. I then pulled up and I told him that we were taking it, and he called us entitled before peeling off dramatically. My friends are now arguing that human placeholders are illegal, but my friend insists that we were technically there first. Am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think?
Yeah, you're the jerk. That's not how this works. I understand you wanted the spot, but if you couldn't immediately, and it's always frustrating when you loop back around to try and get it and someone else takes it. I understand the frustration, but people are not cars. You can't just stand in a parking lot and save it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel mixed feelings about this. While I don't think that it was necessarily the most polite thing to do, I also don't know that it was the worst thing in the world to do. And I mean, I think that it's just one of those things where, I mean, they got to the spot, but also like it's one of those things where it really is in poor taste, and I think a lot of people are probably going to frown on it. As you know, that one guy in the truck, he didn't seem to appreciate it. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And read me, Dr. Memory says, you're the jerk. That's not how parking works. First vehicle wins. And Captain 21423 says, you're the jerk. No, you cannot do that. And No Subject 2336 says, you're the jerk. You're not a car, and no, you weren't there first with your car at the parking spot. And Snooze Sprouts 6437 says, you're the jerk, and you can't do that. You were not in the spot first. The guy in the truck was. Next time, park a little further away and walk. Trust me, it takes a few extra seconds to walk, and it's not worth the hassle of driving around and around. You know, I mean, I do actually agree with this person. And maybe this is why I just don't care that much, is like, I always take like the last spot in the parking spot. I'm like, I don't care. I'll just walk there. I don't ever want to fight anyone over a parking spot.
Good exercise.
Yeah. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she has a joke.
Why did the car rev to life?
The car revved to life because it was one of Stephen King's creations, and it was coming for you.
Because their friend said that they were a real ride or die.
Ah.
And it's Go for a Ride Day and also Family Volunteer Day.
So be the person who volunteers to go for a ride with your family. And I have a special guest tea. I have some matcha. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy spectacular Saturday, folks. I hope your Saturday is off to a spectacular start. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance, and please have it on entitled behavior.
Respect other people's time, and if you're going to be late, be sure to tell them.
Yeah. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.